When the quiet kid made the bully shut up, here's a few stories. Story number 1. It was a dreary Monday morning at Maplewood High. The weekend had come and gone, and the students trudged through the hallways, steeling themselves for another week of classes. Among them was Ethan, a quiet, unassuming sophomore. He wasn't one to draw attention to himself, often found with his nose buried in a book or scribbling in his notebook. But Ethan's quiet nature made him a target for Jackson, a notorious bully who took pleasure in terrorizing those who deemed weaker than himself. He would shove Ethan into lockers, knock his books out of his hands, and taunt him with cruel words that cut deep. Ethan would simply try to ignore Jackson's torment, hoping that if he didn't react, the bullying would stop. However, the bullying only intensified. One day, as Ethan was eating lunch in the cafeteria, Jackson and his gang approached him. They began hurling insults and laughing at Ethan's expense. Jackson went a step further, snatching Ethan's notebook and reading his private thoughts aloud for everybody to hear. The cafeteria erupted in laughter, and Ethan felt his cheeks burn with humiliation. That night, Ethan decided that he could not take it anymore. He needed to find a way to make Jackson shut up once and for all. But rather than resort to violence, Ethan knew he needed to be smarter. See, more strategic this time. He began to carefully observe Jackson and his gang, learning their habits, their routines. He discovered that Jackson was extremely self-conscious about his academic performance, often cheating on tests and hiding his report from his friends. Armed with this knowledge, Ethan devised a plan. He started by anonymously sending Jackson's latest report card to several students, ensuring that the word of his poor grades would spread like wildfire. As expected, Jackson's classmates began to taunt him about his academic struggles, and the bully found himself on the receiving end of the ridicule he had so often dished out. But Ethan simply did not stop there. He wanted to ensure that Jackson would think twice before ever bullying anyone again. He continued to gather evidence of Jackson's cheating, carefully documenting each instance. Then he discreetly submitted his findings to the school board. It wasn't long before the school launched an investigation into the allegations, and Jackson was called to the principal's office. He tried to deny any wrongdoing, but the evidence was simply overwhelming. As a result, Jackson faced severe consequences, including suspension and mandatory tutoring sessions. Ethan's plan had simply worked. The other students began to view Jackson in a new light, and his reputation as the feared school bully crumbled. Jackson, now humbled and struggled to keep up his schoolwork, began to understand the pain that he caused on others. As for Ethan, he felt a sense of justice and relief. He'd stood up to the bully, not through violence or aggression, but by using his intelligence and determination. The other students began to see Ethan in a new light as well, respecting him for his quiet courage and resilience. In the end, Ethan's clever revenge had taught Jackson a valuable lesson, making him think twice before ever trying to bully somebody again. Story number 2. It was an ordinary day in high school, just like any other. The bell just rang, signaling the end of third period. Students flooded the halls, eager to make their way to the next class or catch up with friends before the next bell rang. Amidst the sea of students was a quiet, unassuming kid named Alex. He was the typical introverted type, keeping to himself, not drawing any attention. On this fateful day, Alex was on his way to his favorite class, art. It was the one subject that allowed him to escape the mundane routine of high school life and truly express himself. As he turned the corner, Alex spotted Kevin, the school bully, and his cronies, of course. Kevin was notorious for making life miserable for anyone who he deemed weaker than him. Unfortunately for Alex, he was one of those targets. Kevin had spent months picking on Alex, taunting him about his introverted nature and belittling his passion for art. He would often snatch Alex's sketchbook, scribble over his drawings, and toss it back to him, smirking with satisfaction as he watched the frustration in Alex's eyes. Today, Kevin was up to his usual antics. He noticed Alex coming down the hall and made a beeline for him, eager to continue his cruel hobby. See, as Kevin approached, he noticed that Alex had a new sketchbook under his arm. Grinning, he swiftly yanked it from Alex's grasp, then sneered, "What you up to, Alex? Another one of your pathetic drawings?" Alex clenched his fist and tried to ignore Kevin, hoping that he would just leave him alone. But Kevin was relentless. He began just going through the sketchbook, mocking Alex's hard work as his gang of bullies laughed along. Alex's face turned red with anger, but he remained silent, desperately hoping that the torment would soon end. Just as Kevin was about to vandalize one of Alex's drawings, something unexpected happened. Mr. Andrews, the art teacher, stepped into the hallway and caught sight of the commotion. He was a tall, broad-shouldered man with a deep, authoritative voice that commanded respect. Mr. Andrews was well aware of Kevin's bullying antics and had been looking for an opportunity to teach him a lesson. In a booming voice, Mr. Andrews called out, "Kevin, what do you think you're doing?" Startled, Kevin looked up from the sketchbook and stammered, I was just checking out Alex's drawing, sir." "Really?" Mr. Andrews asked skeptically, as he walked up to Kevin and touched the sketchbook from him. He began flipping through the pages, admiring Alex's artwork. These are excellent, Alex. You really have a talent here." The other students began to gather around, curious about what was happening. Mr. Andrews continued, "You know, Kevin, art is a powerful form of self-expression. It takes courage and skill to put your thoughts and feelings onto paper for others to see. Instead of ridiculing Alex's passion, maybe you should try channeling your own energy into something creative." He handed the sketchbook back to Alex, who looked surprised but grateful for the praise. Mr. Andrews then addressed the growing crowd. "As a matter of fact, we have an upcoming school-wide art competition. I encourage each of you to participate and explore your own creative abilities." Turning back to Kevin, he added, "I expect to see an entry from you especially, Kevin. Let's see if you can put your energy into something more productive than bullying others." Kevin's face flushed with embarrassment as other students murmured in agreement. He mumbled a half-hearted apology to Alex and slunk away with his gang. Their laughter replaced by awkward silence. The weeks leading up to the art competition were transformative for many students. They deserved newfound passions and talents, even forming new friendships as they worked on their submissions. Kevin, still reeling from his public humiliation, reluctantly took Mr. Andrews' challenge to heart. He spent hours in the art room honing in his skills and finding solace in the creative process. When the day of the competition arrived, the school was buzzing with excitement. Gymnasium had been transformed into a vibrant gallery, showcasing the incredible artwork of the students. As the judges made their rounds, whispers of admiration, you could hear them up in the air, and awe could be heard throughout the crowd. Alex's submission was a stunning, intricate sketch depicting the struggle between light and darkness, a metaphor of his own battle against Kevin's torment. Kevin, to the surprise of many, submitted a piece as well. His painting was an abstract representation of his inner turmoil and the realization that he needed to change. The judges, they were highly impressed with the quality of the submission, and after much deliberation, the results were announced. Alex was awarded first place for his captivating sketch, while Kevin earned an honorable mention for his raw, emotional painting. Applause filled the gym as the students celebrated the winners. As Alex approached the stage to accept his award, he caught sight of Kevin in the crowd. For the first time, he saw something in Kevin's eyes that he hadn't seen before: humility, respect. Kevin approached Alex and extended his hand, offering a genuine apology, and he said, "Your drawing was amazing, Alex. I'm sorry for how I treated you. I didn't realize how powerful art could be until Mr. Andrews challenged me, and I promise I'll never bother you again." Alex hesitated for a moment, then shook Kevin's hand and accepted the apology. "Thanks, Kevin. I hope we can both continue to grow and learn from this." From that day forward, the dynamic between Alex and Kevin changed forever. The quiet kid made the bully shut up. Not through violence, not through anger, but through the power of art and wisdom of compassionate teaching. The school community grew closer that day, fostering newfound appreciation for creativity and unique talents to each individual. And as for Alex, he continued to excel in his artwork, his passion for self-expression shining brighter than ever.